Right guys, welcome back to another video, and today let's talk about some basketball. Right, so today basically what I wanted to talk about is something from my perspective as someone from England, some things I don't really understand about the NBA and the American culture of basketball. So coming from where I come from, there's some stuff in the NBA which I just don't get, and I'm going to be talking about in this video and stuff that I've seen over the past couple of years watching the NBA and stuff that I really don't understand coming from my perspective. But let's get into the video and let's talk about it. So the most recent thing which I've seen, which kind of prompted me to make this video, was the fact of the schedule in the NBA being such a big deal. Like I've seen so many people talking about the schedule and what it means. In England, right, we have football. I'm going to relate it back to football because that's what I watch in England, right? In England we have football, we have the Premier League, you'll probably know it. And the schedule or the fixtures or whatever don't really matter. You just play them as they come, and that's kind of how it is. You play it in game weeks, so you play everyone plays a game a week. Now obviously I know in the NBA this is different because for some reason you guys insist on playing back-to-backs. You guys insist on doing weird games where some teams will have back-to-backs and some won't have games for 3 days. And the main reason for this, I think, is also the venue as well, because a lot of things that I don't understand about the NBA as well is a lot of you guys don't own the stadiums you play at, if you know what I mean. For example, the Celtics don't own the TD Garden, for example. I know the Warriors own the Chase Center and stuff like that, but in England we have our stadium that is Leicester City Stadium, Man United Stadium, Liverpool Stadium, where they exclusively play, and that is all that stadium is used for. For example, in Boston, I think the Bruins play there, the ice hockey team play at the Celtics stadium as well. So they have to remove the ground, put it up and stuff, and they use it for events and stuff like that. In England, that's not really normal. We only use the pitch for football, and that's it. That's just our stadium. And that's another thing which I don't get. Why is the schedule such a massive thing in American sports? Why does it matter when you have these back-to-backs? I tell you what, why wouldn't you just extend the season or start the season a little bit earlier, and then you can, I don't know, not have as many back-to-backs? Do you know what I mean? And then you wouldn't have to play games every 2 nights. And I get you need sports all the time, but in England we don't have really Premier League games. We don't usually have them on the weekdays. We don't usually have them, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We don't usually have them unless it's midweek games, which isn't that usual in the Premier League. So I don't know, maybe if you spaced it out a bit, then you wouldn't have to do these back-to-backs, which just don't make sense to me, because surely that is not good for the players. In England, the teams complain when they've got a game 3 days away. They complain when it's 3 days away, the game, and that is what's crazy to me is, in American sports, you guys just play back-to-back, just full throttle, just playing back-to-back, which is how? How do you guys do that? I just don't get it. Another thing I don't get is the fantasy football and fantasy basketball kind of system where you guys have drafts and stuff. In England we have a thing called FPL. Now I don't know if you guys will know what it is if you're American, but basically it's where we pick 11 players and basically you score points for things like goals, assists and stuff like that. But I just don't understand your guys' fantasy league and stuff like that. I just don't understand how it works. I've tried playing it before and it just doesn't make sense to me, the basketball one. Do you have to pick a draft every single time, but then you can't have the same player as someone else? It just seems weird to me, and I just don't understand it in any way whatsoever. And it's just kind of confusing. That's one of the main things I don't understand. We don't have that in England. It's not the same thing. We have fantasy games, but they're not the same thing. In the Premier League, like I said, you can choose 11 people, and anyone can have those same people, and you're just competing against everyone. That's kind of what the game is. If you'll have seen on my football channel, we do a weekly FPL video usually, and that is the fantasy version of Premier League. You should try it if you like football. It's really good, and it brings a lot more interest in the games which you're not a fan of. Sometimes I don't like watching games for example, I might not want to watch a game Tottenham versus I don't know, Everton or something, but because I've got those players in my fantasy team, I'll watch it, and that's what I quite like about it. But I don't understand the American version of fantasy football. That's something that I don't understand. And if anyone knows how to explain this to me, let me know in the comments, because I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. And there's a lot of things in American sports, especially basketball, which I don't really get as someone from England watching it. why does it matter who's playing on Christmas Day? Like, I know that's a big thing, but why does it matter? Like, being from the UK, I have to watch the games either really late at night or the next day, because the games are all on at like 12, like at 1 o'clock in the morning where I am right now. So it's really hard for me to watch the games live. But for some reason, I don't understand why it matters when the games are to you, because we all play a game on Boxing Day. We don't play a game on Christmas in England for football. And it's just strange to me how that works, really. And another thing I don't get is, why do you guys play longer games than us? Because in England, we, especially in basketball, we play 10-minute quarters, which is a lot shorter, obviously. And you guys play 12-minute quarters, which is a lot more difference. That's like 6 extra minutes. That's like nearly a whole quarter, like half a quarter for us. That's kind of a lot. That's a lot of minutes you guys are playing. And I love watching American sports. But another thing I don't get, this is one of the things that annoys me so much watching like American sports from home. Why do you guys love like the jumbotrons and stuff? Like, in England we don't have that. Like, if that happened in England, like, people are not responding. Like, do you know the bits where it says dance and stuff? No one's dancing, like, at a football game. It's very serious, and there's a lot of scary people at football games. So I wouldn't like, I just don't get it. Like, I'm watching on TV and I just think, how is this entertaining for me watching as a fan on TV, watching random people in the stadium dance, and coming from football where it's always just constantly just football or people talking about football. There's no analysis, and maybe that's just the TV I'm watching, because I have the NBA League Pass, so I don't really get the analysis and stuff like that. I just get to watch the game and stuff. So maybe that's just me watching it. Maybe you guys get the analysis that you want. But where I am in England, it's like, all I get is these like fan cam things and stuff like that halfway through, and the cheerleader stuff. We don't have that in England, especially in football. It's not really a thing. Like, we don't really like that sort of thing. It's just not. We're here for the game is what I'm there for, especially. And that's what's kind of annoying. Like, especially timeouts and stuff where you've got to sit there for about 5 minutes waiting for the game to restart, just watching like fan cams or TV stuff that isn't really entertaining, like, really. But that is just like my kind of perspective on American sports. Sometimes it's a bit too much, and you try and make it too much like a TV show kind of thing, and it's not really about the sports as much. And I get it, because it's entertainment at the end of the day. But where I come from in England, like, sport is like literally sport. There's no, and like, it's entertaining for you to just watch a sport. You shouldn't have to do anything else around it, really. And that's kind of what I like about it. It's just, in England, it's just sport. And I kind of wish that, in America, you didn't have to watch all the fan cam stuff. And obviously, after the game, you can change it to the, like, shortened game or whatever without all that stuff. And it's a lot better, but I like watching the games live, and that's one of the best parts about it for me, is watching it live. And yeah, but they're just some questions I have if you are American and understand why you lot do these things. If you have any questions about why we do things in England, let me know in the comments. I'd love to answer questions. I love answering questions, and I might even do a video on them if it's a good question, and I'll explain fully why we do things in England the way we do. But that is the end of the video, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate you.